Assalamu alaikum. In our previous lecture, we had discussed some of the important e-businesses which are prevalent over the web. So we saw what is the storefront model, what is auction model, what is the e-recruiting model, online news agency model, etc. In our today's lecture, we want to see as to how we can divide different online businesses on the basis of earning of revenue. So in this regard, the experts have divided the online businesses mainly into 6 business models. And you can look at the slide. I have listed these 6 approaches, 6 types. One is the web catalog revenue model. Second, digital content revenue models. Third, advertising supported revenue models. Then advertising, subscription, mixed revenue models, fee for transaction revenue models, and lastly, fee for service revenue models. Let's try to analyze these different revenue models one by one. First of all is the web catalog revenue model. As the name suggests, in this type of revenue model, the online business would be utilizing some online catalog, then there would be some shopping cart, and with the help of these features mainly, the shopping can be made by customers. So the shopping can be made for books, for computers, for toys, for flowers, gifts, etc. Different types of shopping can be done. The main source of revenue for the online business would come from the payments which the customer would make as a result of the shopping they would do. So that is the simple type of revenue model which most of the online businesses apply. Here I would like to point out one thing, that electronic commerce is not merely for profit making, right? There can be other objectives also. So wherever we want to reduce the cost or the expense of our business, or we want to improve our services to our customers, again we can use electronic commerce for that purpose also. But in this particular example, where the endeavor of the online business is to generate revenue, then the online catalogs, the online shopping carts, they can be made use of to earn the revenue. Then the next type of revenue model is subscription based revenue model, or the digital content revenue model. In this digital content revenue model, the revenue is earned on the basis of subscription that the customers offer, right? So since the web is one of the most efficient distribution mechanism, so we use this efficient distribution mechanism to disseminate information to the relevant individuals, to the customers. For example, someone wants to download an online article, an online journal, or an online magazine. The online business that can provide this information, this digital information, it has got the authority to provide that. That online business can specify a certain subscription fee, and on paying that subscription fee alone, the customer, the individual, would download a digital copy of that online content, that online article, online magazine, etc. So in this fashion, using the subscription from the individuals, from the customers, an online business would generate its revenue. I can give you a common example. There are certain online businesses, certain online websites which provide useful legal information to law firms, and they charge a subscription fee for providing this information. Right? It would depend upon the size of the law firm and upon its usage pattern that a specific amount of subscription fee would have to be charged from that law firm by the online business which is providing this information. Then there are other examples also. There are online businesses which are disseminating, which are providing information like corporate information, government information, news. They are also providing the facility, the resources for academic libraries, so you can make access to the academic libraries, and from there you can download certain useful information. Again, the main point, the hallmark of this revenue model is that the revenue would be generated by the subscription. Here you should notice one thing, that in case of this type of online publishing, online supply of digital information, the advantage is that there is no paper printing or distribution cost associated, which otherwise would be associated in case we talk of some traditional businesses. Okay? So that was the second revenue model, the subscription-based digital content revenue model. The third type of revenue model is termed as advertising supported revenue model. Now the key feature in this type of revenue model is that the revenue would be earned by the concerned online business mainly on the basis of advertisements that it would host or it would display on its web pages. Okay, so just in case an online business is providing certain services, certain information free of cost to certain audience, certain community, then in order to support its online business operations, in order to bear the cost of maintaining its online business, which is providing free of charge services to certain audience, there that online business would rely upon the advertisements. So by displaying advertisements on its web pages, it would generate revenue, and in this fashion it would balance out the cost of its operations, the cost of maintaining its website. So there is a common example of Yahoo. Yahoo provides useful search facilities, then it also provides some useful information to the audience. Now, in order to maintain the cost of its business, it earns its revenue purely on the basis of charges that it receives for allowing certain advertisements on its web pages. So there can be certain organizations, certain businesses which are keen to host their banners, to place their banners, to place their ads on the web pages of Yahoo, and they would pay certain amount to Yahoo for that purpose, and that would be the source of generating revenue for Yahoo. Otherwise, Yahoo is providing free services by providing a free service of search engine, by providing free information. So in order to maintain its business, to bear the cost of its business, the revenue it would generate would come from the payment it would receive as a result of displaying the ads of certain organizations on its web pages. Another example in this regard is e-recruiting business. Normally in e-recruiting business, there would be an online business which would host the job ads coming from different employers, and those employers will have to pay certain amount to the online business, to the e-recruiting business for displaying these job ads, and this is how the revenue would be generated by that online business. On the other hand, the service provided by the online business would be free of any charge for the job seekers. Okay, so the job seekers, they free of any charge can host their resumes, their covering letters. They would not be charged any amount ordinarily for this service which the online business has rendered. But on the other hand, the revenue mainly would be generated by placing the job ads coming from different employers. Then the third type of revenue model is the advertising subscription mixed revenue model. So as the name suggests, it's a mixture of advertising type and subscription type revenue models. Some of the revenue by an online business is earned through monthly subscriptions, and part of its total revenue is generated through advertisements. So many distinguished newspapers, they have followed this revenue model. They have successfully employed it, and they are using a combination of these two different things. They are generating part of their revenue by hosting advertisements on their web pages, and for providing certain information, certain services to their customers, to their user, they ask them to subscribe. Now, the subscription is normally on monthly basis. A monthly fee, in other words, has to be paid by the users to the online business. For the infrequent customers or users, the option normally would exist that they can make the payment through credit card. So whenever they require the information, they require the service from the online business through credit card, then they can make the payment. They are not on the subscription basis. They are not making the payment on the basis of monthly subscription. Okay, here I would like to point out one thing, that typically those online businesses coming under this category which are heavily subscription based, they charge heavy subscription fee, they would subject their users, their customers to very minimal advertisements. Right? So that means that where heavy subscription fee is being charged, then the revenue would not come that much from advertisements. The advertisements which otherwise are hosted by an online business to generate revenue, these advertisements relate to those organizations which want to place their advertising messages on the online website. The fourth type of revenue model is fee-based, that is fee for transaction revenue model. So this type of revenue model is based on the idea that when a transaction is completed with the help of certain services or information provided an online business, only then some payment will have to be made by the customer, by the user to that online business. And the amount of payment would depend on the number and size of transaction. So if the number and size of the transactions is greater, the payment to be made by the user would be greater. Okay, as an example, I can talk about the online travel agency businesses. What happens is that if there is an online travel agency business, You access that online business, you make a request to that business for making arrangements for your travel, for the airline ticket, for lodging, for transportation, for other related services. The online travel agent would make all these different arrangements. It would provide its useful advice to its client. And when a transaction in this regard would be concluded, would be completed, a fee would be charged by the online travel agency business from the relevant user, from the relevant customer of the service. So in this fashion, the online travel agency business would generate its revenue coming from the fee that it would charge on the basis of transactions that would be concluded. Then another example is in relation to online stock brokerage firms. So the online brokerage firms, they can provide the investment advice to their clients, and they can facilitate the process of buying and selling of stocks or shares. And for this service, on the completion of a transaction, on the completion of a trade, these businesses, online brokerage houses, they would charge their fee, and in this fashion then they would earn their revenue. Okay, then there is another revenue model which is called the fee for service model. So in this category, the revenue is not generated, is not earned on the basis of number and size of transactions, as was the earlier case I just mentioned, the brokerage house example and the online travel agency example that I gave. Rather, in this particular case, the fee is imposed on rendering certain useful services to the users. A common example is that where there are online websites which have been arranged by, say, doctors, chartered accountants, lawyers, and through these websites, these professionals, they provide some professional advice, they provide some consultancy services to the individuals, to the customers, and they charge certain amount, certain fee for rendering these services. We would say that this example is that of fee for service revenue model. Another example that can be quoted in this behalf is that of online games. In case of online games also, you, as an online business, you provide certain services, you provide certain entertainment to the users, and as a result, you charge certain amount, and thus you generate your revenue. So normally what happens is that when you access an online game website, you are asked to download or you are asked to purchase a special software, or you have to subscribe for that software by paying certain amount, and then you have to pay certain amount also on the monthly basis. So from these two different channels, then the revenue is generated by that online business which is dealing in online games. So these are some of the main revenue models that I wanted to discuss with you. Now, I intend to start our new topic, which is internet marketing, in our today's lecture. Remember, internet has provided a unique avenue for the marketers to indulge into their marketing endeavors, marketing techniques for both online and offline businesses. You can't find any parallel of this unique avenue which the internet has provided to the marketers today, in the sense that internet is global in nature, and the information, the marketing messages, the advertising messages, they can reach instantaneously from one part of the world to the other part, and that too quite inexpensively. So under this topic, internet marketing, mainly we shall be dealing with the following heads, as you can see on the slide. So market segmentation would be one subtopic, then email marketing, banner advertising, promotions, we'll talk about public relations, partnering, then CRM, customer relationship management, what is its scope in relation to internet marketing, then creating brands on the web, we'll briefly talk about it, about this concept, affiliate programs, and then how we can make use of search engines for marketing purposes. The practice of dividing your potential customers into different categories, different groups, different segments is called market segmentation. Once you have identified different segments of your market, then you can advertise your products, your services to those specific segments based upon the study of their needs. So in other words, you can do then personalization with those market segments. Normally, the demographic characteristics such as age, gender, income level, marital status, and geographic location, they are normally used to create different market segments. So, for that matter, unmarried men within the range of 19 to 25 years, they can be grouped as one market segment, and then you can do the targeted marketing with such segment. The marketing experts, they have identified 3 different types of variables to define 3 different market segmentations. So, number 1 is geographical segmentation, number 2 is demographic segmentation, number 3 is psychographic segmentation. I'll explain that to you. In case of geographical segmentation, the grouping of customers is done based upon their location. So where the customers live or they work, based upon that factor, the segments are made. So there can be customer segments based upon the fact that they live in the rural areas, so they'll be called rural segments, rural customers segments, and then the customers which reside in urban areas, that would be a segment of then urban customers. And accordingly we can have different advertising messages for these different segments. In case of demographic segmentation, we use the demographic variables such as age, gender, etc. in order to do the grouping. So therefore, there can be websites which are devoted to the issues related to women. There can be certain other websites which are disseminating material exclusively related to young people, teenagers, etc. So that is the example of demographic segmentation. The third type, psychographic segmentation, does not use variables like location, age, gender, etc. Rather, the social class, the personality, and the lifestyle of customers is taken into consideration to create such a market segment. So an example is that where the manufacturer of a sports car it wants to direct certain advertising message to the market, to the customers, then it would create its advertising message, its advertising campaign in such a fashion that it would excite the people, it would target those people who want thrill, who want to achieve certain ends, high ends in life. So they have a particular lifestyle, and such an advertisement would then target such individuals. That is the example of psychographic segmentation. The online businesses, they also use these market segmentations, or they can use a combination thereof. So in case we combine the location variable with certain demographic variables, we can create a new segment then. It's a combination, and then based upon that we can deliver our advertising messages. An example is that when we create a segment such that individuals living at a particular geographical location, having a certain age limit, if we target such segment, such group, then we can say that we are using a combination of geographical segmentation and demographic segmentation. Companies match their marketing messages, their advertising messages with the segment, market segment that they are dealing with. So an example is that where there is a history TV channel, for that matter, you will find advertisements related to history books or educational videotapes, etc. Because the idea would be that the people who watch the history TV channel, they are the ones who have got a special appeal for such advertisements. They have a relatively high intellectual level. They are believed to have that higher intellectual level, and they are considered to have relatively more interest in such items. So you won't find sports-related items on history TV channel, for that matter, as a common example. Next, I want to highlight one thing, that the marketers, they need to do something more beyond the market segmentation in order to effectively market their products. In fact, they have to create a special sales environment which is conducive, which is compatible with the market segment they are dealing with. So that would include the display options, the lighting, the sales personnel, the music that is used on the physical store related to a particular business. I can give you an example. Say there is a physical store which is dealing with items, which is selling items related to old people, elderly people. So there, it is not conducive, it is not suitable that you provide a glamorous environment. Rather, you will create your settings for that physical store in a fashion that it is more sober. The lighting scheme, the display options, the salespersons, all such setup would be created keeping this thing in mind, that there has to be some soberness, because the business deals with the items which relate to elderly people. On the other hand, in case your physical store, your business, deals in the products which are related to younger generation, younger people, then you can have a different environment, a different sales setup. Your lighting scheme, your display options, they might be quite different as opposed to the fact when the business is selling to elderly people. Now, here you should note one thing, that we have certain limitations as regards the display space in case of physical offline businesses. We are handicapped in this regard. You can say that we can create a particular sales environment in our physical store at a particular time. We don't have much flexibility in this regard. So there is a constant setup in all probability which we can't ordinarily change. On the other hand, we have an advantage in case of online businesses. And this advantage is that by its nature, the nature of the technology, it is possible that we have different sales environment for different market segments. We can in fact create different virtual spaces for different market segments. So if there is a website, an online business, which is selling different items for different customers having different backgrounds, say it is selling items for old people, it is also selling items for children. So it is very much possible that we create different sales environment, different sales setup in relation to the children related web page and in relation to the page that deals with the elderly people. So if the customers, they click at a page that relates to the items corresponding to older people, then we have very conveniently, we have a setup, we have background colors prepared as such, we have all the environment on our web page such that it is conducive, it is compatible with the elderly people. It's sober environment. On the other hand, at the same time we can create our other web page which holds the items for children in a different setup. That web page would have a different background, it would have different color scheme, different display options, it is likely to be more glamorous or more lively. So in this fashion, you need to register that it is very much possible that we create different virtual spaces, we create different web pages very conveniently, having different backgrounds corresponding to different market segments that we are dealing with. Then there is also a very unique concept I would like to highlight here, and that is one-to-one marketing. In case of online businesses, it is a common experience that products can be sold to individuals on a personalized basis. I can give you an example. Say you go to an online shop which is selling computers. It is very much possible, rather it is actually being done. There are websites which are doing that you create your own system, your own computer machine. There are different configuration tools using which you can specify different components of your system. You can select different components of your system, and in other words, you can create your own system. That is an example of one-to-one marketing, a personalized marketing. The marketing experts, while discussing the behavior of customers doing shopping online, they have also identified another type of segmentation, and that is called behavioral segmentation. This depends upon different modes of behavior. It has been identified that the customers who are doing shopping online, they have 3 different modes of behavior. So one type of customers, we can call them as browsers. These are those customers who are not in fact aiming at any shopping. They are not coming to your website to do any shopping. Rather, they have just come to browse through your website. And your goal as an online business should be to excite them to a level that they prepare themselves for shopping from your online business. For that purpose, you can use certain words, certain phrases, you can use certain animations which attract them and induce them to do the shopping from your online shop. Depending upon the behavior of customers, the other type is buyers. These type of customers come with their mind set for buying. So in order to cater such customers, what an online business should do, it should provide a convenient setup. It should, for that matter, provide proper hyperlinks. It should provide online catalog. It should provide the shopping cart, a link to the shopping cart, a convenient link, so that they can do the shopping without putting themselves into any discomfort. The third type of grouping that we can make on the basis of behavior of the customers, that is shoppers. The shoppers are those type of customers who want to do the purchase, but they need more information. Their mind is set to buy from the online shop, but they want to do certain comparison, they want to gather certain more details to make up their mind ultimately to buy from that online shop. So keeping that in mind, the online business's approach should be such that it should provide facilities so that the comparisons, the search, the sorting of different items is conveniently possible for these type of customers. So the technology should be utilized such that it is possible that the customers, they make easy comparisons of different products which are available for sale. So the description of one type of product and a similar type of product, all such descriptions, they are displayed side by side so that the customers can make an easy comparison about the features, about the price of such products, and then they can make up their mind and they can do the shopping. So that was about the market segmentation and what are the various types of market segmentations that we can create. When you plan to start your online business, the first thing that a marketer for your online business needs to decide is the URL or your domain name. So the idea should be that the domain name which is selected for the particular online business, it should be easy to read, easy to remember, easy to type. It should be easily understandable. Because the nature of e-commerce is that it transcends any geographical boundaries. So people coming from different cultures, from different countries, they are going to use a particular domain name to access the website of the online business. So therefore, it is very useful, it is very important that the domain name is easy to remember, easy to type, easy to understand for different type of people coming from different countries, from different cultures, having different languages, etc. You may recall I talked about ICANN, which is the organization that operates at the global level, whose task is to supervise the job of registration of domain names at a global level. So there are different top level domains which the ICANN has specified, .com, .int, .gov, etc., which can be used for registration of domain names. Okay, then after you have selected the domain name for your online business, then it is again very important for the marketers that they do their certain homework, they do some research work about the type of business they are going to deal in. So that research aims at gathering useful information, knowledge about your own business, about the business of your competitors, what are the strengths of your competitors, what are their weaknesses, what are going to be your strengths and your weaknesses, etc. So keeping all such things in mind and doing an appropriate analysis, then full-fledged marketing scheme of that online business that can be then launched. There are 3 different ways how the marketers can undertake this task of research. One is that there can be telephone surveys, online surveys, etc., and through which the input of the potential customers that is sought. Secondly, there can be questionnaires, online questionnaires, using which the different category of customers, they can provide their feedback, their input, right? So from these interviews, questionnaires, surveys, you gather sufficient amount of data that you can utilize to prepare your business plan. And you preferably do that before the start of your online business. Then a second way of doing your research, gathering all this useful information, is that you go to the websites of your competitors. Again, that is very convenient. It's quite simple as compared to offline traditional businesses. You can simply go to the website of your competitor online business, and then you can spend some time, you can gather certain information, you can make an analysis about the strengths, the weaknesses of your competitor business. The point I'm trying to make is that doing your research about your competitor's online business is much easier as compared to doing this type of research in case of traditional offline businesses. So through that research, through that analysis of your competitor business, you get certain useful information that can be productive for your marketing plan. Then the third type of effort that you can make to gather the relevant data, the information, is that you can make use of certain special tools or techniques which can provide you patterns or buying patterns of your customers. So there are data mining tools which are available. Applying those data mining tools on the databases where you keep recording the information about your customers, their biodata, their buying pattern. By applying such data mining tools, you can extract certain useful patterns, and then on the analysis of such patterns, you can figure out as to who are the persons or the customers who can respond to your marketing campaign, who are inclined to do the shopping from your online business. So after the selection of the appropriate domain name and the research as regards your business and your marketing plan, the next important thing for a marketer would be the appropriate website design. And there are a few considerations that you will have to take into account for that matter. Remember one thing, if your website is not attractive, if your website is not user-friendly, if it is not responding to the needs of the customers who come to your website, then your customers, they are not going to wait. This is a very exclusive feature of online businesses, that the customers, they do not have much patience. If they feel annoying towards your website, they are just one click away from the website of your competitor, and without any inconvenience and without any extra cost. We call that low switching cost. In other words, the cost for switching over to your competitor's website is very low, in fact negligible. So therefore, your endeavor as a marketer would be that once the customers, they for the first time reach your website, they are going to stay there and they are going to do the shopping from your website. Otherwise, they are just one click away from the site of your competitor. It is so convenient for them to shift. That would not be the case in case of offline businesses. There the customers, they have to do some effort to move from one physical store to some other physical store. That would not be there in case of online businesses. So what are the various features, various factors that marketers do need to consider while designing the website? So I have listed a few on the screen before you. You can look at that. One important factor would be easy site navigation. That means that where your website contains a lot of information, then instead of cluttering your website with all that huge information, it is better that you divide this information into different hyperlinks, and then you provide a site map, a link to a site map. The customers would click at that link, the site map would open, and then using that site map, the customers can then figure out as to where is the information about the company itself, where is the information about the products of this company, and different pieces of information can therefore be identified more conveniently. Then it is useful if you provide a frequently asked questions section on your website. It is always handy that you provide an FAQ section. You may have experienced that there are certain websites which provide this link. The idea is that customers are going to have certain questions naturally in their mind. So instead of the customers each time contacting the online business and asking different types of questions, it is better that beforehand these questions are addressed and the answers to these questions are put on the website. So navigating that FAQ section, then the customers can know the answers about their various questions, like what is the policy of refund of money as regards this online business. So what is their policy about the privacy, etc. Then it can also be useful if you provide your contact information in a clear manner. The contact information is the main information using which the customers are going to interact with the online business. They are going to provide their feedback. They are going to know as to what is the place where the online business is hosted, etc. So providing the contact information in a convenient format again can be a very useful feature. You must incorporate that on your online business website. Then use of multimedia. So the idea is that you can make your online business more fancy, more colorful by using sound files, by applying music, by incorporating animations, etc. All these different features, they make your website more attractive, more sticky. But you have to keep one thing in mind, that in certain areas, the downloading period of animations of such image files is relatively greater. So you should not ideally use so much of animations or images on your website in relation to those businesses particularly where the bandwidth is relatively slow, the downloading period is more. You have to in fact create a balance. It would also be useful if your online business specifies, outlines its privacy policy. So that means that the customers would beforehand know about what is going to be the fate of the information that they are going to provide to this particular online business. So the online business beforehand can inform to the customers that, well, their private information would be kept secret. It would not be sold out or marketed to the third parties. It would not be marketed outside. It would be preserved, and it would be prevented from being accessed by unauthorized persons. So these are some of the main features which an online business must take care of. Another important factor is that generally the outlook of your website must be attractive. The aesthetics, the color combination, all such factors while designing your website should be taken properly into consideration, because that are going to make your website sticky. Stickiness means that when the customer arrives at your website, he is likely to stay and he is likely to do the shopping. So the time for our today's lecture is over with this discussion, and I hope that you are making a proper understanding of whatever we are discussing. In the coming lecture, we'll do some more discussion on internet marketing. Till then, Khuda Hafiz.